Good evening, everyone. It is about 11:45 at night. Let's start this up and get rid of this fog. Let's put the heat on a little bit in the windshield, get rid of that fog. Yep, that's on the inside. That's from me breathing in here because I just parked for about 4 hours and edited together the videos I filmed here today. And it got a little foggy. Outside's actually very nice. The next couple days and nights feel like summertime. You can walk around all night long, early morning, without a jacket, feel comfortable. But I don't think the waterways are going to get warm enough. Although that would be really nice because I would love to take a bath after doing some gross things today in culvert pipes. So let the vehicle run for a minute because it's completely cold. We've been sitting here for a bit. Sitting at 61 degrees, and for almost midnight, yeah, that feels like summertime, because today we are in far northern Maine, exploring. Saw a bunch of moose today, too. The engine's completely cold. We don't even have heat to get rid of that fog, but I see it slowly going away. I park in a specific spot here sometimes, because this is the only spot in the woods that gets internet for, like, hours. It's on top of a hill. It's pretty nice. Just had some stuff to eat. Blueberries, a banana, a couple cookies. I have a bunch of random things I've been eating in here. Alright, we let it run for a minute. Let's go for a ride and see if we can see any moose. Don't even have the headlights on. That's the off-road light. There we go. Let's do a 3-point turn. Fog will clear it up in a minute. It's so dark out here. I see some stars. The moon will probably get bright again. Last night the moon was so bright I could walk around on these dirt roads that are in the middle of the wilderness and no flashlight. It was very clear. Not just light enough to be able to see where you're going, but light enough that you could actually pick up things off the ground. The moon was so bright last night. A little bit of fog left, it looks like. Yeah, it's okay. It'll go away. Maybe we'll see some moose. I actually saw a good amount of moose. You usually don't see as many in the fall as you do in the spring, but I guess it's because the weather's pretty warm. Today, the high temperature was 72. That is 21 Celsius, and that is very warm for this time of year. This time of year, we shouldn't even be getting above 50. Never mind being this warm at night. It's unbelievable. 50 degrees at night is 10 degrees Celsius, and that's our low. That's supposed to be like the daytime high this time of year. We're supposed to be getting below freezing now almost every night. But it happens sometimes. The past 3 years, we've had cold Octobers. 2020, it was so hot in October that you could go swimming. It was like 26 Celsius in the 80s Fahrenheit in 2020. I remember swimming in Moosehead Lake back then. Why are we still foggy? It's not actually foggy. Is there grease on this camera? Yeah, that looks a little better. I think there was something greasy on the lens of the camera. We're gonna go on a drive, see if we can see any wildlife out. They just graded this road. You can't see it, but I'm sure I'm making a massive dust cloud. You see the water right there on the hill? That's because they built the road years ago over a natural spring. It's gonna keep leaking there no matter what they do. Now, if they made this into like a paved road, the way they'd have to engineer that correctly is put a whole bunch of gravel pipes leading out to get that water out of there. But those areas there where you see the water trickling in the winter, it keeps trickling. It just makes layer upon layer of ice. It causes a massive ice buildup there. There's a lot of those. And it's been pretty dry out. It's amazing that's still flowing. I haven't really had a look for them lately, but at night they flow more. You notice them more too, because it's colder out. There's no sun up evaporating it. I saw some beautiful fall foliage, and we're now getting into late October. Now, it's a different type of foliage. When people think of foliage, that ended for far northern Maine 3 weeks ago, ended in my area 2 weeks ago. When you think of foliage, you're thinking of the birch, the maple trees being bright orange, red, yellow. But up here, there's a few types of trees, aspen and tamarack tree. Tamarack is the only kind of conifer tree that actually loses its needles. It looks like a dead Christmas tree all winter long, but it's very beautiful this time of year. They turn bright yellow, the most vibrant yellow. It's just mystical looking when there's a whole forest of those trees. And it's awesome how a tamarack grows its needles back in the spring. It starts, the buds, it just starts with these little balls that look like pine cones, and they just get bigger and bigger. It's cool watching them. I have a few of those in my yard, and mine are still green. They're a late tree. This year, there's not too much frost and stuff, so it's beautiful for a long time. But those trees, I've seen them drop their needles, go from green to brown in a matter of a few days if you get a hard frost suddenly. Watch it out on these roads. There's been an uptick of deer in the past couple of years. I've been traveling these roads by myself ever since I got my driver's license about 5 years ago, and the first couple of years on these dirt roads, I can tell you I'd never seen a deer. Never. Not once. It's all moose. Still, it's mostly moose, but there's been a massive uptick in deer. Deer aren't like moose. Moose are usually already in the road around the corner when people hit them. They're a dark animal too. Deer just jump out like a bunny rabbit. They're skittish, and they'll try to zigzag in front of you. It's a predator tactic, but they'll do it to a car. They'll zigzag in front of you real fast, and that's how you hit them. Last night, not once, but twice, I had to slam the brakes on the paved roads so hard that I left marks on the roads because they just jump out of nowhere. I'm just thankful this truck was able to stop so fast. I couldn't believe it. I went from like 55 miles an hour to like completely stopped in a matter of 2-3 seconds. I'm surprised I was able to stop that fast. But everything in here went flying. I had a mess. And whenever I go out on the logging roads, I usually will bring things like berries, whether it's strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, tomatoes. I like eating things like that while I'm driving. It's healthy and it helps clean my teeth after eating other things. I'm lucky because I had a good amount of berries and stuff that those didn't go flying and open and make a mess. Nothing actually made a expelled. Nothing. But it could have. It could have been bad. You know, I never hear anyone in the comments complain about it, so I probably shouldn't worry. It bothers me personally. Can you hear that little clicking sound, that little rattling sound? This is a brand new camera mount, and it still makes some sort of like, you can hear it making clicking sounds. I don't know why they do that. My last one I filled all the gaps with hot glue. Maybe I should do that with this camera mount, but it's brand new. Alright, it looks like maybe it stopped for now. It's hunting season, lots of hunters out, and the moose at night walk on the roads. You legally can't hunt anything on the actual road. You gotta be off the road, and the moose all travel on the roads, and that's why it's illegal to hunt moose and deer after dusk. It's just unfair. I'm not going to worry about that clicking sound. They can keep on doing that. We're going to go for a bit of a drive and try to look for some wildlife. So I realized something. About a month or two ago, I got the most aggressive tires on the truck not that loud on the highway like people thought they'd be. And I have been on the highway at over 80 miles an hour, and they don't sound bad, they don't vibrate much, but the gaps are about an inch big between the treads. Now, my old off-road tires were very aggressive. They had very deep treads, but they weren't very far apart from each other. So the issue is, on the dirt roads, it would grab every little pebble, every piece of gravel, grab it. It would get wedged in there, and then when the tire spins, it would throw it up, smash it against the underside of the truck, chipping all the paint. It's like a sandblasting. It would start rusting like crazy. Ignore that text message. It started rusting like crazy, and I'd paint it, go off-road for about a week, come back, it'd be all sandblasted off again and start rusting with the road salt. But since I got these tires with the big gaps, most rocks can't get wedged in there, and the rocks that would be heavy enough to get wedged in there tend to not get thrown. I look underneath the truck after months, again, a month or two of driving off-road like this at high speeds and stuff. Nothing. Spotless paint. No more destruction. So if you're someone that lives on dirt roads and stuff, get really aggressive tires with massive gaps that doesn't pick up rocks. It's amazing. No more sandblasting. I don't have to paint as vigorously now underneath the truck all the time. Stupid thing. Maybe I'll fill all the gaps with hot glue again. That actually worked for a while until the sun melted in. Maybe I'll use super glue or something. But super glue off-gases and it leaves like this foggy film on the windshield. That's why I don't want to use that. But I could maybe use super glue gel. Do it sometime when I'm at home for a bit. That's not a big deal. It's not the suction cup, but it's actually one of the joints. Maybe I can stop for a moment and tighten these up. It's not that one. Let's see this. It might be the suction cup after all. It's okay though. No one mentions it. I'm hoping we can find some animals to maybe see tonight in this video, because all that noise you're hearing is basically the camera mount and or water bottles and garbage I have on the seat next to me. The truck actually rides pretty smooth. It's just objects in here, a bunch of tools and other stuff banging around in the back. Alright, now it's getting kind of hot in here from the heat. Take it off the windshield. Put some fans on. There's a big bridge, and I'll get out with my super bright flashlight that I haven't really used out in the field yet. So we'll try the new flashlight out on the bridge. There's like a grassland and stuff along a river. We might be able to spot something grazing if it doesn't run away by the time we get there. They'd make some sort of car windshield mount that's like sturdy, super sturdy. I wouldn't mind if it had multiple suction cup points, because I'm not looking out that part of the windshield often anyways. Something to stop it from making these stupid clicking sounds. as I drive. Let's try something. Let's just stop for a moment. Let's see if I turn it, loosen the suction cup, push as hard as I can, reattach. Did that do anything? Probably not. This corner, I saw a moose around dusk with a baby. Maybe we'll see them in the road somewhere up here. I think the noise actually improved by tightening it up like that. Not that it matters with all the other annoying noises. A couple clicks here and there from the tires throwing rocks, but if you listen to my old videos, there's sometimes roads it's consistently throwing one after another. I don't even really hear it anymore, so that'll save a lot of time with painting and other stuff, rust issues in the future if the tires aren't throwing up all this debris. Now, that being said, if it's muddy out, you can't really stop it from throwing actual sand that's sticking to the wet tire. But I haven't found that to be a problem yet. That went well. One of them had a very muddy, gassy bog stuck in the entrance of it. A bog is basically a floating island of grass, sometimes bushes and trees. It's floating on peat moss and swamp gases. And that was a stinky one. There was so much gas holding up that floating island. It was very muddy though, thankfully. Had no real structure to it. So I was able to tear it apart and send it through the pipe without much of an issue. Then I had another typical blockage. Found 2 blockages today that I had to mark with blue ribbons so the trapper is alerted to it. Ones that, these were 8-foot culverts that were underwater. Very dangerous. I got one of them open about a foot, but the surge was too much, and the surge wasn't going to go away because we just sent the water that was going across the road into the pipe. So it's not like it's already trickling through the pipe where you drop down a foot, wait an hour, drop down another foot, wait an hour. So this one was, we dropped it down a foot and everything crossing the road was able to fit through the pipe, but it's not going to drop back anymore because added water to it. So those ones got vigorously marked. And it was interesting, I was pulling a tree out of the road today that the beavers actually cut down. It had a 10-12 inch diameter to it. Really tall aspen tree. Aspen trees are soft wood, but they're very heavy and dense when they're wet. The beavers chewed it. It fell in across the road. People were able to get around it on the shoulder. I drove around it on the shoulder. Shoulder was pretty soft. I was bored, so I used a tow strap, put it onto the front of the truck, and just backed up, dragging it all the way down the road until I found an opening where I could leave the tree. That was kind of fun, actually. The tree was heavy enough that I couldn't pull it without four-wheel drive, but the truck didn't really struggle much. I estimate it was maybe 500 pounds. Who knows, maybe 800 pounds. I'm not good at estimating that stuff, but it weighed a lot. Not that much. But after I moved that tree, not more than 10 minutes later, the logging company shows up and they were like, "You beat us to it." They showed up with a chainsaw. They were going to remove it, the logging company. I beat them by 10 minutes. Bridge is coming up. Got a bridge coming up at the bottom of this hill. I know where we are now. Maybe if I get out and walk around a little bit, it'll wake me up and I'll want to drive more. Otherwise, I think I'm going to go back and get some sleep so I can set out tomorrow. Daytime is valuable this time of year because days are short. The sun comes up around 7, sun goes down around 6. It feels like we definitely have less than 12 hours of light this time of year. Okay, where's the bridge parking? There's the bridge, and there's a parking space to the left. No one's on the roads at this hour, so I'm just going to park over here on this side. We're going to walk out on that bridge right now and get the biggest flashlight we got. Bring it out there with us. This right here is the world's biggest flashlight. 200,000 lumens. It's completely metal. It gets hot enough that it can make paper start smoking. Because it's so hot, it has a safety in here. You got to hit this button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and you see it says unlocked. That's so it doesn't accidentally turn on when you're transporting it, because it gets so hot. It could cause a fire, and you also don't want a little kid to just be able to turn it on and off. They wouldn't know to push it like that. Feels like summer out. Nice. The moon is bright again. Pretty bright. I'd be able to go for a walk and not trip. Not as bright as last night though, and I'm starting to stink. I wish the weather was warm enough to go out in the river. Woo, here we go. And you all remember my other super bright flashlight, the 100,000 lumen. It sounded like a hairdryer, the cooling fan. You can hear the cooling fan on this one. I'll be quiet for a moment. It sounds like a computer tower fan. It's very quiet, which is awesome. Super quiet. It's like daylight. I love this light. Off. On. This is, no, that's my headlights you're seeing. This is the low setting. It's called moonlight. It's like a night light. It supposedly can go 300 hours on this really low setting. Then it has a whole bunch of settings in between. But I bought it because it can light up a whole football field. Look at this. Look at that. You can see down the whole river. The only thing obstructing us is fog. Look for animals. Now, animals would not be afraid of this. They would get stunned by the light and just look back. This thing's even blinding. It's so bright when you're near objects. If you're exploring an abandoned building with this, you want to be not the high setting, because it just comes back and it gives you a headache. So this right here, this part of the bridge is often deep enough. You see people in the summer jumping off it right here. That water looks pretty murky and nasty. I even smell it. It smells stinky like a nasty beaver pond. Nasty. I've taken baths here many times and it's never been brown like this. It's always been clear. It hasn't rained recently. I wonder why it's so dirty. We're in northern Maine and near Quebec. Maybe Quebec opened a nasty dam or is cleaning a spillway or something. I don't know. It smells bad. But there's a little grassland. I was hoping there'd be some kind of animal. But this thing shines nice. Nice and far. Oh, it's scary dark. You can even see the horizon and a few stars. Yeah. There's the moon. Got to be careful out here because this is like a train bridge. There's gaps in it everywhere. But nice. Good test of the flashlight. Now this flashlight's so bright, you can't just put it down in the car. It needs like a pot holder or something that it won't melt, because this is hot enough to burn you now, the front of it, just because it's been running. The whole body of it gets warm. It's nice to hold on to these big lights in the winter. They tend to last about an hour or so on high like this. And they'll slowly get dimmer and dimmer as time goes on. It won't stay bright like this. It'll get a little dimmer. The only thing about these massive flashlights that I don't like is, and they should improve on it, eventually it just goes dead. It just strands you. While my diving lamps, on the other hand, will get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until it's just a little glow when it goes out. They don't strand you. You're going to notice it going out. This thing here will suddenly just die on you after like an hour. I believe it lets you turn it back on a couple of times, but it'll only stay on for like a minute. Then it's dead. But you know what I mean. I'm sure everyone's had a flashlight that slowly dies over time. No animals, unfortunately. Let's go back to the truck. Alright. It's pretty nice out. The weather for this time of year. Alright, I put the thing down on a piece of clothing. It doesn't appear to melt that. Well, at least I know the battery in the truck is really good, because I sat earlier editing and I just kept all the internal lights on for like 4 hours, and a good amount of time I left the off-road light on just to see if anything was walking towards me, and all that stuff didn't hesitate to start. But it's okay to mess around with that because I have like one of those battery jumpers, which works pretty easily if I did accidentally do that. I've never actually killed the battery by doing something dumb like that, amazingly. I know I've left the car on, like accessory mode, overnight, with the radio playing and stuff, completely overnight. Didn't do anything to the battery. I've left things charging in here overnight, like flashlights and stuff. Never killed anything. That flashlight's like twice as bright as my off-road light. Alright, where are we gonna go now? We can drive for a little bit, maybe another 10-20 minutes, just to see what we come across. Then I want cold. Right now, I've gone about maybe 7,000 miles since the last oil change, but I put the miles on there fast. I know my mechanic tells me I shouldn't go past like 5 or 6. The dealership says I can go like 10, and so does the manual of the car. And I find that to be true despite what some mechanics might say, because my old car has now 370 something thousand miles on it. Original engine, original transmission, and majority of its life it had an oil change every 10,000 miles, and it's still going without any issues. It's not making ticking noises, no weird noises from the engine. It still runs very well with that kind of mileage. And you know my old car got beat up for years on these dirt roads. A vehicle that wasn't even meant for off-road. It got beat up out here. It got bottomed out on the oil pan. Nothing ever broke. I'd hit things so hard I would hit the stop blocks all the time. I'd get it stuck in mud, all kinds of stupid stuff, and it's still going. Toyotas just last forever if it's got the good naturally aspirated engines. The turbo ones blow up like crazy. Like, I can't believe the issues they're having these days with the new Tundras. They're braking like crazy. Well, who buys a truck that has a V6 in it that's full size? That's why they're blowing up. The old V8 engine was actually able to pull a load and it was never strained. That's why it lasted so long. But yeah, the manual for this car, it says in it, normal driving 5,000 miles. If you're driving on the highway, most of the time you can go 10,000, it says. And if you're off-road 100%, it says to change it at 3,000 miles. Now that being said, this is a vehicle that's meant for off-road, but when I bought it, Toyota was like, it comes with 30,000 miles worth of free service, which only includes an oil change every 10,000 miles. So you're saying that the average person who's supposed to change it at 5,000 can't do that? You're not going to cover it? Ridiculous. Stupid crap. But I never let it go 10,000 miles, this truck. I change it around 7, 8 max every time. But I put on the miles fast. If I had to change it every single time at 3,000 miles, like some people recommend, I think I'd be changing it every other week. I'm not going to do that. Just a big hole. I thought it was a body of water. I know this road well, and I was about to say, why is there water there? Did a beaver just build a dam? I haven't been on this road in, honestly, a couple months, but I know there shouldn't have been water there, and it was just a dark spot. I thought it may have been water. when I'm going down these roads, I'm always keeping an eye on water levels, because I know where they're all supposed to be, and I can just tell when one of them is off a little bit. And that's how we detect beaver things. At nighttime, there's times that I briefly lose track of where I am, but never lost for long. In the daytime, I navigate these roads pretty well. I don't use maps or anything anymore. It's just my brain's good at looking at certain trees, rocks, and random things that I guess some people just wouldn't notice. But my brain will remember those things years later for some reason. Culvert pipes I've ever seen in logging woods. I got a video of it from years ago. I'm not sure exactly what video it is, because I'm sure it was a video of a bunch of different things. Yeah, that culvert back there was like, it looked big enough you could almost fit a train through it. Like the size of a traffic tunnel. Whoa. Did you see that? Oh my gosh. I was like a half a foot away from hitting a moose. I think we may have tapped it, but I felt nothing through the truck one bit. I didn't feel a single thing. Nothing. We didn't hit it hard. If anything, we just tapped the moose. Maybe in fear it fell over, I don't know. But it's not hurt. It got up and ran away. So we didn't hurt it. I didn't even feel it one bit on the truck. Not at all. I'm just gonna go look. I can hear it out in the woods walking. So, looking at my front bumper, which is absolutely covered in mud, it grazed it slightly. Like the mud, there's only a teeny area, a couple inches, that's covered in mud that got removed. It just grazed it ever so slightly. Yeah, if I had hit that thing with any force, it would have broke the plastic parts of the bumper. Wow, I got to take a look at that. See what happened again. All right, I took another look at that. I want to step back out there again. Hey, look. Okay, so the little spot that I think it may have hit was on the right side, but it looked like in the video it hit more on the left. Let's go take a look again. Being very cautious looking at the woods because you don't want a moose to come back very angry and pissed off. No. The bumper is covered in mud, and it looks like in the video to the left, the moose got hit and it knocked it over. But I didn't feel that through the truck at all, and there's no mark. So I don't know where it hit, if it did get hit, but that was a light tap. So that guy's fine. I've had in the last just day, a lot of animals run out in front of the truck like that. I've never had that before. I don't know what it is. And that's the first moose in my life I've ever seen do that. Because for them to do that, that's rare. I always talk about how it's the deer you gotta watch out for, but the moose, that's the first time I've ever seen a moose act like that. Just run out like that. Alright, we'll drive a little bit further. Coming up, I think just a couple miles. What's the next mile marker say? We gotta read it, because that's to the border. good signals. There's not much of a signal back there. This is what I was talking about. You had to drive like a good hour or anything to get to any other signal from that parking spot I had. Says 15 right there. Right around that corner is a checkpoint. I don't want to go near that right now. For years, I always never understood how the state was able to have a percentile for hitting a moose. I think it's like I'm gonna have to look it up. Do I even have a signal here? Do I have a signal? No, I don't at the moment, but I believe that the chance of hitting a moose, no, not a moose, but a deer, I think there's a 1 in 20-something% chance of hitting one in a year, or I think it might be 1 in 30% chance of hitting one in a year. So basically, the average person, I guess, in this state hits a deer every 4 years or something like that. And I never believed it before, but considering I've had 3 close calls in the past day, I've never had that before. I've never had a close call ever. I've driven like a couple 100,000 miles in the past couple years and never had that before. I'm not using any new lights or anything. Give it like 5 minutes, we'll be back in that area again. Someone's coming. Oh, it's a log truck. Let's get way over. They log at night too. Well, this guy's going so fast. Whoa. Pebble hit the windshield. Wow, that guy's going fast. I wouldn't be surprised if that guy's doing like 60, 95 kilometers an hour. I would not be surprised if he's doing that. Look at the storm he made. Now that guy's gonna end up hitting a moose. Wow. And I was starting to think myself going like 45 or 70 kilometers an hour was fast. That guy was, wow, that was a fast truck. But when you're in a big truck like that, that was not loaded, but heavy trucks ride smoother. My grandfather was a truck driver, and he told me that when a tractor trailer's empty, it rides like garbage. But when it's full, you can ride over any pothole you want. You don't even feel it. That truck was empty, but that's a log truck. I'm sure that thing has like some of the best suspension. Take a look at all this dust that guy stirred up. Sometimes in the summer the dust is so bad you gotta literally stop for a couple minutes. Anytime I park on the edge of a road during dusty conditions, I'll wake up in the morning, there's like a curtain of dust on every window of the vehicle if I like pull over somewhere near the road. That would have been cool to see that log truck when we were out walking around. Still a dust storm. In person it's a little more because the camera can see through it pretty easily. The camera's got better vision than a regular human eye. Alright, I think we're around where the moose was. Not seeing anything. The dust looks like it's just about gone. I still see it in the air, and I can see it on the camera too. There's still a good amount of dust. See the dust. It comes and goes. Certain areas the wind blew it away. We're pretty open right now, so I'm not seeing it. It all blew away in this open area. I think I might have to clean my lights. They don't seem like they're shining as far as they usually do. Oh, here we go, back to the dust in the little areas that wind can't get. You see, it lingers a long time in the air. It's a lot worse in the summer. The air filters I've pulled out of this truck, and they've been so disgusting. I've never noticed an MPG drop from it, though. But I have noticed a massive increase when I change it for the first time in a while, as far as the cabin filter. The air blows out of the vents so hard, because you slowly get used to it over time, it clogging up. And when it's like, wow, when you go and actually change it, there's still a lot of dust around. Look at that right in front of us. The air's still not too much of wind or breeze. Wow, it's really still here. We passed that truck a good 5 minutes ago. Wow, it's dense right here, very dense in person. And the camera's seeing it too. Dense. So I'm going kind of slow. I can't see up there a lot. Alright, I'll be getting to bed, it looks like probably around 2 o'clock, because I'm going to have a snack once I end this video. Video here actually. I hope tonight's driving vlog was interesting, everyone. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Let's pull over for a minute. I'll edit this together quickly. I just have to splice it because I know what I need to do to it real quick.